Subscribe. This is the Nightly Fix, powered by Foolish Club Media. Please head to our YouTube channel, Foolish Club Media. Like and subscribe if you're on Twitter. Follow us, share, do all of those good things as we try to make this thing grow. And if you do not do so, fuck you. But not really. Just do it the next day. Because, we still need you. But at least for the moment, if you decide, fuck you. But again, we still need you. Now, listen. We keep it absolutely a buck, 100, however you put it. So, Osita's out tonight. And for real reasons. I won't give him hell for this one. But we got a guest. And he's making his debut, Serda, on the Nightly Fix, and we'll see if this is his last time, being that he's late. And he's making his debut to the Nightly Fix and his debut to Foolish Club Media. If you have followed our career, Stephen and myself, you may know this individual. Joe Summers, a.k.a. Stanford Joe. If you've been rocking with us from the beginning, you definitely know him. Little Gilmore Girls accent may ring a bell. But Joe is rolling with us tonight. And we're trying to go on time. You know we're 10 o'clock every night. And my man says, hold up. Text us the group, Steve. Hold up. Give me 1 sec. My chain just broke. I got to find a new necklace. You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. So whenever he appears with us after he finds this new necklace, we're going to give Stanford Joe Hill. You got to be kidding me. I've got to find my necklace. Get out of here. You couldn't go without a necklace. This better be a hell of a necklace. I don't know if he feels naked without it.
It better be a banger.
It better be a banger. I need to see the one that he broke and the one that he's got. I came out here sporting gifts. I found this, and it was an omen. It was an omen, and I said, we got to have him on. I found this earlier. You remember this, Steve? You remember this? I found this in a drawer this morning. I went in to get some new toothpaste because we ran out of toothpaste, and I found this old Saved by the Show wristband that Joe went out and had made. You got one too? You still got it? Look at God. I still got it. Still got it. I'm sure Joe.
Up here on my desk.
I'm sure Joe has one with his necklace. And I was going to say, look at Joe, man, the man who offered this. But no, we can't even have Joe because he can't be on time because Joe's necklace. And now I believe he hasn't. Now he's sent his laptop frozen. And I just honestly believe he has not found the necklace that he is looking for. He has not found. All right, Joe is going to join us, and you'll love Joe. What?
I was having computer problems myself, so I understand how that goes. But we got to back. Has he not been prepped at all? Like,
not back to back. I think the necklace, the new necklace, is bleeding into the excuse of the frozen laptop. I really do. There's a lot that I want to get into tonight, but this is dropped today, Serda, and we can talk about this briefly before we get to the other stuff. But First Take came on today, and Stephen A. Smith, he just appears. No music, no intro, nothing. It just hits us with this good morning and welcome to First Take. Normally, our friend Molly Quirm would greet you. However, Molly has announced last night she will be departing from ESPN. She has hosted First Take for 10 years and elevated the show with her grace. Her expertise and incomparable kindness will miss her and wish her blessings in the future. Finally, Joe with his chain. Joe.
Oh my goodness. It's a terrible situation.
Joe with his necklace. He's making his debut on the Nightly Fix at Foolish Club Media, and he has to give us a timeout, as we just discussed, because his chain broke. This better be a hell of a chain, is all we're saying.
I was putting my shirt on, and it is a hell of a chain. It was going to be very flashy. I was putting my shirt on, and as I came down, I ripped it off. It was really devastating, and it's an expensive chain. So now I have to figure that out, and I've got this Amazon like festival goer type of necklace on now. I was panicking, trying to find a replacement. I don't have my gold chain. I'm all out of sorts, but it's good to be here with you guys.
Steve, I've never I'm trying to think of the apparatus that I can't go on with the show to not have. Like right now, Steve,
you got to have a necklace.
Oh, stop it, Steve. If we were sitting
I'm
right
in a
here,
t-shirt and basketball shorts right now. So
if we were sitting down right here, and a piece of my glass is broken in half, I would be like this on here, and I would just go on. The glasses, and I can't see. The glasses wouldn't stop me. Joe said,
Your glasses are cheaper than my chain. Is all I gotta say.
Joe said, to hell with this. I can't do this show. Not without just my chain broke, but the other one broke. And I can't do one without a chain, is what Joe said. This is
I feel naked right now. It's terrible. This is cheap. This is Amazon. I usually wear some gold.
So,
I don't know.
So obviously what we're letting know is Joe is letting you know he's not going to be at his best today. And that there is a way to go up unless he has his gold chain. But I read that today. I just read that, and I do want to get into some stuff, but this coming out. So Molly's just done on First Take, and clearly, this has to be like something happened, right? She's been on that show 10 years. She's celebrated, and they're not doing. They did a whole week for Skip when he left. Carrie Champion, I believe, she had a last show. Her show is done. Was she on yesterday? I think she was on yesterday, wasn't she? No, I'm sorry.
But I think it came out. I think it came out like ahead of Monday Night Football that she was leaving.
Yeah, but it came out, but sort of something occurred that she wouldn't have a last show, right? Or that Stephen A.
I don't think her and Stephen A. get along anymore. Like they've had instances like over the past couple of years where you can tell she just gets sick of him. Like she just gets annoyed with him and like calls him out on the show. Like I think there was probably just some incident where behind the scenes they got mad at each other and she was like, I'm just done with this. Like, fuck this.
That's what I'm saying. Something happened that this isn't just
Stephen A's. I feel like Stephen A's probably reached that level of his career where he's impossible to work with because ESPN just keeps dumping money into him.
Now his words were kind because listen, Max rolled the hell up out of there. Stephen A. He wasn't this kind on the exit of Max Kellerman.
I'm sure he wasn't.
It just, he was like, even publicly, just, all right, we're moving on, and the show is a different space. He went in there and really spoke, for 5 minutes or whatever for the show started, and they had a cold open, and then he went through it, and he's hosting the rest of the week. So they weren't prepared for this, right? Like, they would have somebody else in there to roll through. I cannot wait to hear the bottom of this. She was on that show 10 years. Like she would have had this is my last day. This is my last week. She was there on a Monday and abruptly she's done. And somebody else, I'm with you. Something happened. I just want to know what it is.
How nice it must be to be given an opportunity to address your team when you're laid off. Must be cool.
Yeah.
But so who were the replacements is my question. Like, who could come in and handle the role that she has handled for a decade?
Yeah, because Carrie Champion, she just had to get out. Like, that was her deal. It was just too much. Christine who comes on when she's not there? I think Cornette, she's pretty good. She jumps on there a lot.
I've got a wild card.
Does it have to be a female? I think that's the other thing.
Yes, yes, it does.
I'm with you because FS1 has just said to hell with females and really just flat minorities as a whole at this point. They've just rolled. Seriously, they've done all of this shift with FS1 and they have gotten whiter and more male, right? Like Danny's added.
Broussard and Jennings are their two guys.
Yeah, and Jennings is not every day, right? I guess the old offensive lineman, he's been on the OT thing that I didn't know was on. They have a first things first OT sort of where it's Danny and it's who's the coach?
I've seen that because
Eric Mangini.
Mangini, and
Because
then
they decided to start this Barstool show that absolutely no one is watching.
I mean, you
and,
talk.
I'm watching it. I'm honestly watching.
Don't know what to do with Danny, so they just slap him on an extra hour of First Things First.
I have
been
watched
pushing
it, and
for
I'm
a
not
Danny
gonna.
Greg Jennings show. I've been pushing.
I'm with you. I don't think Greg wants it. I don't think Greg wants to work every day. There's no way. They've bypassed him, and he's really, really good. They've bypassed him for like Schlereth got an everyday spot,
Well, he's white,
him.
so
And I mean, and Schlereth's good. I mean, he's pretty good. But I'm just saying they've had a lot of athletes work. I am certain that it has to be a deal if Greg doesn't want to work every day and doesn't want to have that be his whole commitment. But no, it is well. No, where's your wild card? Who's your wild card? You said I'm just trying to think of the roster. Maybe they'll just have Greeny do it, and he'll just.
No, please not Greeny. No,
he'll just do
not Greeny.
What is Greeny? Greeny does get up. He's the basketball guy.
So I think Kay Adams with a Danny Parkins, Greg Jennings show focused on interviews. Like if you're gonna pitch yourself as the OT, you have to be different. So athlete interviews, things like that. Kay Adams would be perfect.
Yeah, but what does Kay want to lead?
Kay's doing too much, and Kay has her own thing.
Well, I mean, they could definitely offer her more money than she's making right now. That's why. Yeah,
but I don't think. But I don't.
Greg, a K.
But I don't think FS1 clearly with the Barstool thing. I don't think they care as much to put in that type of money and stuff. Right? They're doing they're re-airing the show that just went off to go up against First Take. They do.
It doesn't make any sense. Like so I record First Things First every day on YouTube TV, and then it bleeds right over into OT. Why would you not just make a new show? Why are you calling it overtime?
It's cheaper. Oh, that one. Oh, that one.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like you can't brand these new people because it's all tied to Nick Wright, Kevin Wildes and Chris Broussard. Like, what are you doing? It's bad management. And ESPN has been doing horrible management for years with their insistence on personality over factual opinion. And it's terrible. FS1 is falling into the abyss.
All right, I've got a listing already of the replacements for Molly on first take. You said you had a wild card, Joe. Was it Kay Adams? Was that? That
was one, but I do have another one.
Who's your wild card?
Stephen Colbert.
That is a wild card. That is a
he's unemployed. Give me Stephen Colbert.
That is a wild card. Yeah, that is a price to pay. You talking about Stephen Colbert's he's gonna ask for more than Stephen A.
We know he can play a character. That's fine.
Well, I'm sure he's a sports fan, and so I don't think he's got enough in his bag. But yeah, he could talk about anything, I'm sure. But
here is their top 5. Courtney Cornyn, who covers the Bears for ESPN, and she sits in a lot in those host chairs. Lovely young lady. Had a couple of conversations with her in the press box a few times. But she stepped in a few times for Tony on Around the Horn. She has done some host stuff. Yeah. So she could be one. Although for her, I think she's somebody who has a lot more opinion, and I would hate for her to get trapped into that space. So I don't know. And then the girl I was talking about, Shea Pepler, who is Jordan Cornett's wife, she has been like one of the main fill-ins for Molly when she's been out over the last couple of years, because they would get confused with Shay, her and Shannon. I guess he's not coming back. And then they have Peter Schrager as the third one there, and he's there. I don't think that works. And then Evan Cohen, who is I think isn't he on ESPN radio? He does a lot of stuff on ESPN radio as a host. So that's the 4 they have right there. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough list. We'll see. We'll see what they do there. But I definitely
like Cronin. Cronin's
Yeah,
the only
yeah.
one I could see.
Yeah. I just don't know if she wants it. She feels like she is
Right.
much more on the Joy Taylor side of things in terms of wanting to give an opinion, big time opinion based than host. But I'm sure that job pays a hell of a lot of money. So maybe that can push it. And it just, if you play it like Carrie Champion did or like Joy Taylor did and say, this will raise my profile and more people will know about me, then I can move on after several years. Molly was tough because she did that for 10 years. Like nobody was doing it for that long. I'm with you. I think they have to stay female on this thing. All right. Hey, man, I think it's time to have a real conversation about CJ Stroud. I think we watched this last night, and fellas, CJ Stroud, listen, I can't remember the last time, and I've watched every one of his games. I can't remember the last time that I watched and I said, damn, that's why they're going to pay him $60 million. He's the dude. He's the dude. Like coming into this time last year, like he was Jaden Daniels. He was in a lot of lists, the top 8 quarterbacks. I was having arguments with people at work that were believing that he was better than Josh Allen at the start of the season last year. And I thought Patrick Creighton, that's who said it. He was nuts for it. And obviously the season showed that to be the case. But I thought, and after year 1, I thought it was very fair to think he is a dude that is someone that can be a fixer. And that's where I kind of put the top quarterbacks, a guy that could come in and he can plug holes that are problems, right? We see it with Josh. Josh didn't and hasn't had any great skilled guys. Cook is his best skilled guy, but somehow he'll plug the hole, and they had the most, and they scored the most points a game last year for the Bills. His defense isn't great either. Plug the holes. Burrow doesn't have an great offensive line. Their running game wasn't great last year. He can plug the holes. Obviously, their defense is terrible. We don't even have to explain with Patrick Mahomes the holes that he has plugged over the last several years. I thought CJ Stroud was that type dude. I think he's becoming as much of the problem as he is the fixer. I don't want to go all the way there, but like they are primed to pay this guy after this year. And I think we got to be looking at CJ Stroud differently. I don't think he's close right now to being the guy that I think they thought he would be.
Well, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think CJ's a really good player. I don't think that D'Amico has been the kind of head coach that I really thought he was going to be. I think he's a great defensive mind, but I don't think they've made good decisions around CJ Stroud. And I think that Nick Caserio is a bad general manager. So
yes,
I'm willing to bet that CJ has the talent, but in the modern day NFL, there's Patrick Mahomes, there's Josh Allen, there's Lamar Jackson. Like those are the guys that really and truly can win in spite of everything that's around them. And then I think everybody else is literally just everybody else. I don't think there's anybody else in the league right now who can elevate everyone around them or put the team on their backs and say, I'm going to drag us to wins and I'm going to get us to 12 wins a season. Let me finish.
I am.
And CJ Stroud, I think, is a good quarterback. I think situationally, he has been in an awful situation. Their offensive line is still absolute garbage. And he's got one weapon on offense. It's Nico Collins and literally no one else. Like, people were celebrating that they signed Nick Chubb and played a rookie mid-round pick and Woody Marks out of the backfield last night. He's literally got nothing else on offense aside from 2 wide receivers that they drafted from Iowa State, but they refuse to play because Justin Watson's playing a bunch of snaps over them. Like, he's
no, sir. They don't refuse.
situation.
They don't refuse to play for Justin Watson. They haven't been good enough to play over Justin
Well,
Watson.
seems like
This
you
is
should play
just-
the rookies that you drafted and see what you got in them then.
It's terrible disrespect to Kansas City, Park Hill's finest, Jalen Noel, which hurts my heart. But I think there's multiple points here. So the first point is that I think that you're right that Nick Caserio has done a terrible job building his team. So, like, if you look to the young quarterbacks that have succeeded, what do they have? Sometimes weapons, but every single time they have an elite offensive line. The Texans, I mean, Ron, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not been very good, and at least in the first couple of weeks. And you look at, like, so to counter your point, Serda, Jared Goff, none of us would believe is a person that elevates his teammates, but I mean, he was like top 5 MVP last year. Like, when you create the right infrastructure, you can make a quarterback work that needs to be a pocket passer. And that's the second point. And that's what I think really hurt CJ the most. You look at a guy like Jaden Daniels or a Lamar or a Josh or even Mahomes this week, they created structure with their legs. Like, outside of the pocket, they're like, okay, I'll figure it out. CJ Stroud and Ron, again, correct me if I'm wrong, from my opinion, has not shown an ability to create structure outside of the pocket when he's out of structure. And that's the biggest problem for me. And we saw Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinator, struggle last year. New one hasn't done much better. The offensive line they invested heavily in. But you look at the Texans, you look at the Bears trading for Joe Thuney. Neither team that had a horrible offensive line last year and tried to address it has succeeded. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, because if you're going to have a pocket passer like CJ, you have to be able to give him a pocket.
Yeah, I'd say I don't know how great Washington's offensive line was in year 1 with Jaden Daniels, and he was able to succeed. Obviously, they go and get Tunsil because, of course, yes, trade Laramie Tunsil right now if you're the Texans, and then replace him,
Joe Thuney.
And replace him with Cam, and replace him with but the Chiefs traded him but did it to get tackles. They traded him and said, let's get Cam Robinson, who didn't make it out of training camp. Listen, I think there is some validity to what you guys are saying about the position he's been put in with the offensive line. With that being said, at some point, if we're going to talk about him the way we have talked about him, it ain't all the other shit around him. Okay. We got it's some of it. But if we're talking about him like that, then maybe we need to cool our jets. And that's why I'm saying maybe it's time to look at him differently. Maybe we need to cool our jets and drop him down in what we're expecting from him. Because we could say he have no weapons, but hell, last year he had Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Now, some of the time those guys were injured, but he played with and Joe Mixon, by the way, who made the Pro Bowl last year, and Nico Collins, who made the Pro Bowl last year. They've had some injuries. See, that's my thing is the big reason year 1 we gave him so much credit was because he was able, him and Bobby Slowick were able to negotiate that poor offensive line, right? They didn't have, Tom was hurt half the year. George Fant was over there playing right tackle. They had an Austin Deculus who had to play left tackle against TJ Watt in the game, and they figured it out. They had all of these issues, and we didn't know Nico Collins was anybody until after that first year that CJ Stroud was with him. We didn't know that Tank Dell was going to come out immediately and be that. Right, he helped make those guys. I watched him play games where those guys were out, or they may have just had one receiver, and he was still able to make plays. At some point, we're in year 3. Yesterday, he had a throw in that they get the block punt, Jack. They get a block punt. Bam! Right now, you're down 4. Go drive it in. They got the ball at the 30. He throws a ball behind Xavier Hutchinson, who is screaming butt naked across. And then on third down, he is lucky that he threw just a toss right to Levante David, who just dropped it right in his hand. I mean, it was an interception right in his hands. Anybody on fantasy, we'll get to fantasy in a second, Serda, because you got your ass kicked again this week by Osita.
Every league, Serda lost.
This is all-time bad.
That's true.
I'm
literally in multiple leagues with you, Joe, and I won in all of them except for one.
I know what you may have done with Joe, but you got 3 players that you got to pick this week that you didn't crack 20 with your total point. Now, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, it must be nice, Osita, just picking the top-ranked player every single week.
I've got beef with his Oasis take, but go on.
We'll let you bring that. But at some point, guys, man, CJ has gotten the pass that he has gotten, and I'm not surprised he is getting it from the local fan base and media, because hell, we covering the Chiefs understand what it's like when the savior comes in and you feel like you see the savior and you ain't never sniffed nothing. This is a team that's never been to the conference title game, right? And you've never sniffed. We understand. We understand how that feels. I am surprised that the national media has continued now in year 3 to say, yeah, hey man, it's everything else. It's it's that line. He don't have enough weapons. He don't have I will say
he
looks like he didn't belong on the field with Baker. Like him and Baker look like they're in completely different leagues, and Baker's not at the top as an elite quarterback. That is bad.
Baker's got to be top 8.
Baker was without his 2 tackles, and then they had to move their center to tackle.
Oh no, that's a Mahomes point.
Against Hunter and against Will Anderson.
And Baker's
Baker performed and Mahomes didn't under the same circumstances. Oh no,
and
that's a Mahomes point.
Baker's banged up. Also, they got a lot of defensive injuries in Tampa. But I also think there's something to what Joe was saying about CJ, though. Like, I think that CJ as a rookie was so impressive until teams were able to diagnose his game. And since his rookie season, there has been literally no growth from him as a player. We saw Patrick Mahomes totally change the way he played football because teams were just like, okay, we're just not going to let you throw deep anymore. And that's why Mahomes has turned into this chameleon quarterback who can literally do whatever he needs to do to win a football game, play any style. CJ has not changed his game at all.
Steve, let me ask you a question.
If teams just took away everything that he did good as a rookie, there has been no growth from him as a player whatsoever. But also, it is true that the Texans have done a garbage job of building around him and have not put anything else around him since then.
Steve, let me ask you a question on that. You said the growth part. Would you just say you stop at there's been no growth, or would you also move as far to say there has been regression from him? Has he do you think it's just a growth thing? Do you think he's taken steps back?
I think he has regressed now because that's if you're not growing as a player, then you're regressing in the NFL. That's literally what you have to do, because that's why it's so hard to be great year over year in football. And so, I don't think the Texans after his rookie season, it was the Texans are on the doorstep of turning the corner and being relevant and being a legitimate contender. They have made absolutely no progress since then. I don't care if they make the playoff. If they look their way into being a playoff team again this year, nobody in their right mind is going to be scared of that Texans team in January.
So just off the top of my head, I tried to run through quarterback ranking. I think you could put Stroud anywhere between 8 and 15. And that he hasn't closed the gap on the 15 portion is an issue. Obviously the Tail injury hurts, but when you have Nico Collins, when you have this much investment in the offensive line, either it's an indictment on Nick Caserio or it's an indictment on CJ Stroud. You have to pick one, because he's performing like a bottom 20 quarterback where he should be 8 to 15.
Yeah, I think I would put obviously the vast majority on the offensive line situation on
it's Casario.
On Nick
Yeah,
Casario.
yeah.
I would put that in the direction of the organization, but he doesn't help it. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little bit of Mahomes too. Mahomes, the offensive line has problems, or at least last year. I think the offensive line, and we get to that a little bit. I think the Chiefs' offensive line clearly is better this year. They've had problems. They've had problems, but sometimes Mahomes hurts you at times, and sometimes it's on him. And I think it's sometimes it's on CJ as well. He walks himself into sacks. And obviously, he's not as mobile as some of the other guys, and he holds onto the ball sometimes too long. So I think, and that's been a clear difference from year one to these last 2 years. Year one, he saw it, bam, he hit it. And like I posed the question to people today on Twitter, like, what's your confidence level that right now CJ Stroud can do what Baker Mayfield did to close the game? 2:04 left, 80 yards to go. You got to have a touchdown. Like, I like
80-20 would be my answer.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
80 for Baker, 20 for
I do want to update this. We're having a fun fantasy situation between Serda and Osita.
Would you rather have CJ or Trevor Lawrence right now?
CJ. That's not even close. That's not close. What are you talking about?
CJ too.
There, I would say CJ right now because he doesn't turn
I think CJ is heading down the Trevor Lawrence path.
But he is literally, but you're right, sir. He's literally doing what he did after he made the playoffs, and he's getting, and both of them to me are being screwed because of CJ's with the defensive coach who's changing coordinators, and they are changing head coaches and coordinators. Now, I think Trevor has an advantage now with Liam Cohen that he's going to be there and what we've seen him do with Baker. So we'll see. But this is what Osita and Serda are doing. We obviously know Joe Serda is not just a self-proclaimed expert in fantasy football, but he is. He's been doing this for a long time.
Hasn't won a title in a while, though.
Hasn't won a title in a while. He does it. I'm just going off by Joe. He does multiple
in the championship game in another league that we're in last year, Joe.
I love it. And he took over the reins for Ben Heisler over the fantasy football guy at the station that we were fired from. I'm sorry, that I was fired from. And
fired.
You were fired.
I quit. Yeah.
But he's going up against Osita, who is, in the infancy stages of his football watching. And I find it very interesting to see who wins. So Osita is up 1-0, obliterated Serda in the first week.
Want to know who he picks, Joe?
I would love to know who he picks.
No. First week. Let me tell you, Joe, what it is. They have the ability to choose any quarterback they want.
DFS.
Yeah, they have the ability to choose any quarterback, any receiver, and any running back that they want. Any of them.
Oh no! What was Serda's lineup?
And now the first week, Serda said, "This is week one. We've not seen anybody play football yet." He went Drake May as his quarterback.
God!
He went Trayvon Henderson as his running back. By the way, he's going
for him. It's been awful.
And then you had Scary Terry as your receiver.
God!
He picked Chuba Hubbard because he was just in that role where he was pulling guys that he believed that were Nigerian, and so he had Tyreek, who wasn't great, and then whoever his quarterback was he had Jalen Hurts as his quarterback, so he beat the hell out of Steve.
Wait, he had Drake May and Jalen Hurts?
No, that's who Osita had.
Okay, I understand.
So you get three. So this week. So
I think I'm sleeping on the Raiders.
Just three. You get one quarterback, one running back, one wide receiver.
Yes, or receiver.
Can I join this contest? I would love to stomp on Serda.
Well, this is the fun part because I knew Steve would do this. Steve would go and he is going to think, all right, I'm going to get them. I'm going to pick the ones that no one thinks about. Watch me. I'm going to show you my skill level. So, again, this week, Steve goes Joe Burrow. Damn.
Oh, no.
That's a tough one.
Oh,
And
no.
then his running back, he goes with Hampton last night for the Chargers.
Oh, no.
So he didn't learn enough for the rookie running back the first game.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I got to lay off the rookie running backs for a
And
while.
then,
What wide receiver?
and then he went Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, my God.
And so he told
That
him
might
19
be the
points.
worst lineup you could have possibly picked.
And then Osita went with Lamar Jackson.
Well, single-handedly wins.
Yes, he did. He won by himself. All of his picks did. Christian McCaffrey.
Oh,
and
God.
then he went with Jamar Chase. Because I remember
Can you pick anyone, or are you just like?
Yeah.
And you went with those three? Why? This is not DFS.
Because
you
I
don't
like
have
their
a salary.
Because I like their matchups. Osita just
Oh, my
picked the guys
God.
who were ranked the highest. I picked matchups that I like.
He did not. He picked Chuba Hubbard. He wasn't ranked the
No,
highest.
but week 2, he literally just picked the guys who were ranked the highest in the rankings. He said that.
All right,
And how'd that work out for him?
He crushed. Yeah.
all right, Steve. We got 18 weeks, man.
Oh,
Now
no.
I will bounce back and I will reassess. And now we got more tape. We got more things to analyze. I'm now after 2 weeks. I think the Raiders defense is actually pretty good with Pete Carroll. And so
How
I have
much
to
money can I
reassess
bet you
my
on next
Raiders
week?
are an easy thing to just go up against. And I
Oh,
will
my
do
God.
that.
Steve, you
How
gotta
much
dig-
money can I bet you next week?
I'm not betting any money on this.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Steve, you got to dig yourself out of this hole, man.
It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. It's
I know
fine.
it. It's 18 weeks. I'm just saying, you got to get a dub. Like we got to go for it all. The Joe Burrow thing was tough.
Just
All right,
like the
you
Chiefs.
Yes, you probably would have racked up a lot of points throwing to Jamar Chase. That's a tough one for you. Now that wouldn't have done anything with your other picks, but
I didn't know that Trevor Lawrence was going to hospital ball Brian Thomas to the point where he's afraid to catch a ball over the middle of the field. I thought Brian Thomas was talented enough. I didn't know that I was going to have to be worried about him being afraid to take a hit because
You
Trevor
could pick
Lawrence.
every wide receiver and every running back and every quarterback, and that was your three?
No, because listen, it's going to go just the way I thought it would.
Oh, God.
He's not going to take the easy way out. Steve is going to play the matchups, and right now he might look at it and say, "Boy, I really love this matchup for Najee Harris," and he's going to really crush. He's going to find a way to get to the end zone. No, he's not going to pick Bijan Robinson. No, he's not. He's gonna.
Well, I mean, maybe I will. Maybe I got to get a couple of quick wins under my belt, and then I'll start doing that again. We'll see
Play me next week. I would love to play you.
I know who he's not picking. I know he's not picking Isaiah Pacheco next week. I could.
Oh, God.
Hey, speaking of that, like you said, Serda is now 0-2 to Osita. He's got to climb back into this thing. 18 weeks, just like the Chiefs. Joe said. For me, I've not reached this point, and I don't know if people really have. Maybe some have, and maybe you have. But at what point are you getting, and at what point will you get to a space, Serda, where you're like, yo, I think the Chiefs are in trouble? Have you reached that space yet, Steve? Because I heard you on the post-game show. Check it out after every game. Foolish Club Media, Rocky and Serda, who have been on the edge of the cliff the last 2 weeks in the post-game show. Sometimes I had to listen to pull Steve and rein him in. I forgot what I had to text in last week. You said, and just got away from you that the Chiefs weren't competitive against either one of these teams, and in no way in the fourth
competitive.
Quarter did you think the Chiefs were ever going to win that game.
When they were down by 10 in the fourth quarter. I had no way did I ever think, they're going to come back.
Okay, you didn't say that. You said
poorly they played.
You said in the fourth quarter, and I remember.
Thankfully, he hit another garbage time deep touchdown to Tyquan Thornton to make everyone think they had a chance.
With 3:50 left.
You go, and then I have a counter.
No, so at what point, Steve, will you feel like they're in trouble? And have you reached that point yet, or we're in?
I mean, I still think that they're the Chiefs, and I still think that if there's any team that can get out of this 0-2 hole and still go on a run and make the playoffs, it's certainly them. I think not having Rice and Worthy, I think, is debilitating to the offense, but they're really frustrating right now because I do think Kingsley's been a problem. Jawan Taylor's been a problem. Josh Simmons has been great. And you would think Josh Simmons would make the line better overall. And I think it has in some instances. I think there's still obviously issues. There's still struggles with picking up blitzes and taking care of Mahomes the way that they need to or whatever. I think there's play calling issues right now because I think that everything in training camp was, oh, we've got Rashee Rice, we've got Xavier Worthy, and now that you don't have those guys, the play calls aren't working and the offense isn't working, but Mahomes is going to do what he does, and he's going to drag them to wins. They just started this season against two really good football teams in my mind, and I think that the Chargers dominated them. The Eagles were strong-arming them, even though the Eagles didn't play particularly well, and I thought the defense played pretty well against Philadelphia. But this offensive version of the Chiefs just simply isn't good enough to actually beat really good football teams. I think they can be good later in the season, but right now, Mahomes is literally leading the team in rushing yards, and he's got more rushing yards combined than the rest of the running back room, because he's carrying the offense. That's simply not good enough to beat good teams in the NFL, and that's why they're struggling right now. Now, thankfully, they've got the Giants on tap. I know the Giants just put up 1 million points, but Russell Wilson is so up and down. He's going to have games like that. I think the Chiefs can easily beat the Giants and get.
He's going to have 450 games. He's going to have 450 games.
But
if he has another 400-yard game, we're in trouble.
Yeah, no. But Russell Wilson does this. He has these explosion games, and then people will be like, "Oh, Russ is cooking. Russ is back," and then he'll come back next week and have 170 yards and 2 picks. I think the Chiefs are going to be fine this week. I'm confident they can pick up a win against the New York Giants, and they'll get things righted eventually. But Mahomes is having to do literally everything himself right now, and offensively, they aren't playing well enough to beat good football teams. I think that's just the truth.
So I would say that I completely agree with everything that you're saying. I would have 3 points to add. The first is that obviously we have to beat the Giants. If we lose to the Giants, we're in significant trouble. The second is that I think it's a realistic possibility that we're staring down a 3-4 or a 2-5 start to the season. So count the Giants as an easy win. Jaguars, Raiders probably count as an easy win. Raiders and Lions, it wouldn't stun me if we lost. And the Commanders and Bills coming right off of that, but it's as much as I made fun of people for saying it was impossible for us to make the playoffs, it's suddenly becoming a possibility. And at the very least, an 11-6 type of season is in the realm of possibility. The final thing that I would say that I think is most important is we're staring down the loss of the division run. 9 straight divisions, could have 10. And our schedule, you've got Giants easy, Ravens, Jags, Lions, Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Broncos. That's a brutal schedule. I wouldn't be stunned if we were sitting at 3-5 and had to roll off an Aaron Rodgers relaxed type of season to get to the end and make the playoffs as a wild card team. So the schedule is just really hard for us.
Real quick for both of you, if they lose to the Giants, do you move to they're in trouble?
Yes.
Oh God, yeah.
0-3, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
you have to beat the Ravens, which I don't want to have to beat them.
Listen, I don't think they're in trouble. But I will say this: anybody, and I'm talking to, I guess anybody that that are Chiefs fans or staunch believers in the Chiefs, whether you're a fan or not. Like I heard Marcus Spears earlier today talking about listen, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. I'm not counting them out of nothing. And I don't think he's a Chiefs fan. I think he's just somebody who watches and understands what they have done.
Mm.
I won't listen to the, oh man, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I think they will. Hell, I hope they will. But I think you're lying to yourself if there's not at least a bit of concern with this group. I think that's a lie. Now I'm not in the space of trouble because clearly, like it is a big deal. Like if you and I would say not just that they're their two best receivers, but they are their two top offensive weapons, right? Those are the guys that they want to get the ball to as much as anybody. Like it's like taking Saquon and AJ Brown off the field for them. I'm not saying those players are as good as them, but I'm talking your 1-2 options. It's like taking them off the field, and then it changes everything that you do. Right. And so I think it's a big deal not having those guys. And I think they change the whole thing. But their whole mindset, how they're going about things is weird because and this is where I'm in the hope and think. I feel good about the fact that the mistakes that they are making, because to me, that's why they're 0-2. I think they're 0-2 just as much because they don't have the weapons. And as Serda said, their offense doesn't appear to be good enough to beat these teams, except they were in position to have beaten, especially the Eagles, but in position to have beaten and played with those teams with that bad offense. But the big thing is the errors and mistakes that they're making in such a major way. And I feel better about it because the people that are making the mistakes, for the most part, are guys that you feel like, with the exception of Jawan Taylor, the guys that you think will clean it up. And maybe you disagree with me. I thought I didn't come away from that game thinking Jawan Taylor was a problem. Out of the last game. The first game, yes, his penalties, and I didn't look at the offensive line and think, boy, they stunk. I don't think the offensive line is getting very much help because they are in refusal to go down the field and they can't run the football and that they don't run the football. And so I don't think that helps them. But it's Kelsey who took out Worthy. It's Kelsey who should have had a touchdown against the Chargers, but for some reason, him and Pat, in a way we've never seen before, weren't on the same page on what should have been an easy walk-in touchdown. Is Chris Jones going hero ball to end the game and just saying to hell with my job as contain, and I'm just going to cut in. It's Kelsey dropping the ball and it popping into the air, and him again. Still, those two in a way we've not used to seeing. It did look like Mahomes pulled the trigger a bit early. It looked like his head came around, the ball was on his hands immediately, but you still feel like those two should complete that, and that turns into an interception. It's the amount of penalties that they have over and over again. It's the amount of hey, damn, good God, make a play, 2-2 on a punt that's thrown up in the air, make a play. It's just they're making, and Andy Reid lost his mind. Right, like going for it in a game where they can't do anything, and you're going to go for it on your own 35 in a 10-10 game when the offense for the Eagles can't do anything. And it's Butker missing extra points and kicks that we've seen him make for years. Like those guys, it's Patrick Mahomes just saying, I can't throw the ball to Tyquan Thornton. Now, that one may be a little bit more problematic because this is not the first year that we're seeing him struggle with hitting receivers that are open down the field. I'm telling you right now, Tyquan Thornton, the amount of times he's been open, the first 2 weeks, he should be top 10 in receiving yards, right? Like he was open 3 different times on the final drive, and they finally hit him on the last. He was open against the Chargers, right? So I don't think those guys are going to keep being the top reasons with their mental mistakes and their just errors over and over. I believe Travis Kelce's going to catch that ball more times than not. I believe Mahomes, if you keep giving him open receivers like that, he's going to hit them. I believe Chris Jones at some point is not going to just kill you. So that is a space where I feel better. But to say you're not concerned, like if we go through Serda and Joe another week where they're making all of these errors that put themselves in a position, because as Serda said, they can't, with offensively right now, they can't afford to have miscues because they just don't have that margin for error. The mistakes, if that continues, then I gotta, like, you gotta start being honest about it. Like, this may be just who they are.
And just real quick before you go, Serda, to add on to that, so Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, all screwing up. You also had Trent McDuffie getting beat deep. If you're 5, and Harrison Butker, if you're 6, like most iconic players, are going to have a bad game and you lose by 3, I'm not that worried. Go ahead, Serda.
Yeah, but I do think that the plan was obviously like not have Rice for a while, but I think that they went through training camp with him as if, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. We're just hopeful that we can get it out of the way early in the season so he's available later. But then they went through training camp with, okay, we're going to have him. We're going to have Xavier Worthy. And obviously they can't plan for not having Xavier Worthy. But like the wide receivers that they do out there are thrust into roles that they weren't prepared to play at the start of the season because they went through training camp with Rice as being the focal point of the offense, having Xavier Worthy in the role that he was supposed to be in. And now they've got these guys out there that are thrust into these roles they weren't expected to be in. And now you say like, okay, well, they're professional football players. You got to be ready to go and step up whenever. But you see these mistakes and this lack of chemistry week after week. And I agree, like they are not good enough to live through the mistakes that they are making offensively week after week. But then you need guys like Travis Kelce to step up and not make mistakes. And then he is. But Travis Kelce, again, like I brought this up on the postgame show. Travis Kelce's made mistakes before. Like he's going to make mistakes again. But you live and die with those because he's Travis Kelce. It's not the end of the world when he makes a mistake. Like, yes, that was a costly one, but whatever. You move on from it. I'm not going to keep dwelling on the fact that Travis Kelce couldn't hang on to that football and it turned into an interception.
And speaking of that, Steve, can we just chill on people talking about, well, who's going to check Kelce? Fuck that.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce can check anybody he wants.
He's dropped a ball that cost the Chiefs the football game. Like
quite a subtweet. You just landed right there, Ron.
Oh, I'm just saying, Steve, he can walk out there and drop the next 8 in a row. He can still walk up to Jawan Taylor and tell him to stop jumping off sides. Okay, like let's chill. He's earned the right to do that.
It's just that the problem is like the guys that have been thrust into these roles, like they're making mistakes, and then that's all just compiling for the Chiefs because they're not good enough or talented enough right now to overcome those mistakes. But that's literally every other team in the NFL for the most part. Like most teams can't overcome repeated mistakes. And now the Chiefs, who have been the team that always overcomes them, they're just falling in line with every other team in football now. So they just have to stop making mistakes and they'll probably start winning football games because Mahomes is that good.
Yeah. Real quick out of this game, the tush push is dead, right? You think it was Sunday's game? Was Sunday's game because they couldn't get it out with, all right, this is.
I hope so. I've never been annoyed about it until this week.
Well, listen, it hasn't. They haven't been able to be able to make it work with the injury thing because there hasn't been any data. Although it makes no sense. Everybody's head to head, and the first thing they're doing is head to head. Like it looks like someone's going to get hurt. I guess we're just going to keep doing this, like storming the floor until somebody gets trampled. But But they couldn't get it with that. They couldn't just get it with it. Oh, it's not an aesthetically pleasing play. But I feel like Tom Brady going the way he did, and it happening in like the most important moments. And again, you know, I pride myself on never being the officials guy. So I don't think they really probably need the guards to do it. Right? They like I think they probably would have got it. But when you look down there and you see, oh shit, they did it 7 times, 5 times, 7 times the center's head was lined up over the ball, which you can't do, you know, to get the ball to the quarterback quicker. And then 5 of the 7 times, 2 members of the team were lined up off sides. And to be honest with you, or went early on a false start. And to be honest with you, I think I counted 3 of the 7 times the Chiefs had a guy whose helmet was over the line of scrimmage, and they were offsides. And there's not whistles being blown at all because they can't see. They can't see. And well, no, I'm sorry. They got the Chiefs 1 time for it. They got Chris Jones 1 time for an offsides lined up in the neutral zone trying to do it. I think this was enough noise. And then Adam Schefter losing his mind talking about they lost this game in March when the tush push wasn't outlawed. Listen, I think that was it. That was the end of it after everything that happened in that high profile game. Tom Brady, who's also a part owner, is up there going off about it. I think it's dead after this year.
So a few things. First, it's insane that the NFL can't just use. So we have all these pictures of the overhead camera showing us how all 5 members of the Eagles offensive line was lined up offsides. Why are we not using that camera to penalize the games? Seems really easy to do. Second, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think they use that as a judgment call. So that's not one that they look at.
They should. They should look at it. It's really easy. It's just like soccer and VAR, or football. But second, this, in my opinion, is a Nick Sirianni issue because it would be so like you said, they didn't need the guards to line up offside for them to convert these downs. All they had to do was line up onside, so not created a problem. Nick Sirianni, in my opinion, poorly coached the team. We always ask, what does Nick Sirianni do exactly? He's supposed to do this, and he didn't. Third, the soonest that they can fix the problem is this offseason, so the Eagles are looking like a probable Super Bowl favorite moving forward.
I mean, 7 times, sir. It's
just, yeah. I mean, I've always been guy. Well, stop it then. But even when in a world with gambling and you know, former NFL officials, Dean Blandino getting paid millions of dollars now to provide analysis, and he's just like, I got nothing for the tush push. Like, it's a joke at this point. That's why I'm annoyed about it. Like, okay, just ban it already so we can stop fucking talking about it, because it's a joke at this point. It's just stupid. Like, nobody even has anything to say about it because they're just like, well, whatever. It's only unstoppable when the Eagles do it because they're better at doing it than anybody else. I got nothing else to offer you. Okay, well, then let's get rid of it.
And I admit they are better, but watching that game, you could clearly see, 1, they wouldn't be going for it as much, and 2, they would get stopped if somebody else, as much as he squats, they would be getting stopped much more than a 93% clip, whatever it is, if they didn't have 2 other people shoving him forward.
The one time that they didn't commit false start, they got stopped, and they had to do the 4th down, and they got it.
Yeah, because the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs stopped them 3 times in the 7 that they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They stopped them a couple of times in the Super Bowl too. They're like, the Chiefs are like the only team that's actually stopped them recently. But clearly, if he didn't have another person shoving him, I think it would drop immediate way down. And that's my biggest problem with the whole thing. I mean, 1, we never know. It's like the whistle's never blown dead. I swear, until the offensive player
gets the yardage that is needed. That's when they actually start to blow it dead. And then what in the hell should a person continue to be allowed to move forward if they're not doing it on their own?